everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reed, and today, on this day, I have with me Mr. Danny Stone. He is his own podcast host. What an interesting beast this whole podcasting world is. He's an author and he's a personal development coach. So I want to first and foremost say thank you for making space in your life for me today. I truly appreciate it, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, Lana. And it's really great to be here and be on your platform. I love what you're doing. So keep doing all the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you. You know, I just like talking to the fellas. You know, ever since I was my girlfriends from college, they will always tell you I was always the one girl that was in the crowd of guys, kind of listening, like what they say, what they saying over there. You know, I had to know. So you know, I'm just continuing on doing what I've always done. Awesome. But let me get going because I have such a short amount of time with you, and I want to try to get everything in here because you are just the man doing the most. So I'm going to try to get the most in this 30 minutes. But as I was getting ready for today's show, I took some time to listen to your podcast, The Grind and Gratitude Show. First and foremost, kudos.
Thank you.
But the latest episode, I was listening to 7 Reasons Entrepreneurship Might Not Be for You, right?
Yeah.
So I was listening there and I was in my mind, I was going, preach, Daddy, preach, say that again for the people in the back. Say that again. You know, I was like, yes, because so many people feel like I can do that. And I have been in so many conversations and so many rooms where I'm like, you ain't the one. You're not, it's not for you. Right. Entrepreneurship is this humongous monster, and I don't think people realize what it is. So what I'd like to do, Danny, I want you to humor me for a moment.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions, some stuff that I've compiled over the years that I have heard, and I want you to kind of talk me off the cliff, so to speak. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say I come to you and say, you know what, Danny, last week I made these chocolate chip cookies for my son's 3rd grade class, and the teacher and the kids, they ate them all up, and they were talking about how wonderful they were and everything. So you know what? Last night I started a website, and in about a month or so, I should be able to quit my job. Don't you think, Danny?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting that you have that goal and that dream, but you know, have you really thought through what it means to be an entrepreneur? You know, maybe you have a job right now and you're used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. You know, being an entrepreneur, you might get paid, you know, 1 month, and then the next month you might not have any money coming in. So have you really kind of sat down and actually made a real plan, looked at your expenses, looked at the potential revenue, all of these types of things? Have you done that yet?
Most of the time it's no, Danny. They just I sold the people like the cookies. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna be better than Famous Amos, you know.
Oh, okay.
I think people really don't understand the planning and the preparation before you just jump out there. You know, they call it a leap of faith, but there is some planning in the leap of faith.
Absolutely.
So the next question I'd like to propose to you, Danny. So let's say we have the same chocolate chip cookie scenario. And so the person, I come to you and I say, you know what, Danny, you know, I'm crushing this chocolate chip cookie business thing. Last month, I sold $1,000 worth of cookies. You know what? This month, I'm going to take the money and I'm going to Vegas on a vacation.
I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do. If you're cool with if you want to use it as a side hustle, there's nothing wrong with that. But just know that if it's a business, then with a business, you would have to reinvest some of that money back into your business, maybe set some aside for savings. But if it's just purely a side hustle where you just want to make some money to do extra things, perfectly fine. But I would just suggest don't confuse a side hustle with making some money on the side of doing your regular thing to being a full-time entrepreneur, because they're not the same thing.
Okay. So how, before I ask you the next question, so people can understand, how long should you set aside or get in your mind, my side hustle, I will have to stick with this as a side hustle for this amount of time before I can say I can transition out of my regular job? How much time should somebody set themselves up to be comfortable with just having a side hustle?
I mean, I've been coaching people for 15 years, career coaching, business coaching, life coaching. And, a lot of people want to say it's one way or another. Like you got to go all in, or you have to sit down and map out your plan for 6 months or a year. To me, it's really up to the individual. Now, what I would recommend is that you actually sit down, you look at your expenses, you save up enough money to make sure that you're covered for maybe 6 months to a year. But if that's not your thing, because I know people who've been in a situation who are just like, I need to quit this job, go all in on my business. I completely believe in myself. And I know that based on the time that I'm putting in now, if I up that time and make it more full-time hours,
Mm,
the revenue will be sort of coincide with the amount of time and energy I put into the business. And so I'm not going to talk anybody out. If you're ready to go, if you've mapped it out in your mind, you've done your due diligence and you're ready to go, then sure. Now, however, like I said, I would recommend that you try to save up, 6 to 8 to 12 months worth of money, because business is a roller coaster, right? So that would
mm.
be my suggestion. But again, I've seen people who just said, listen, I gave them my 1 week or 2 week notice, quit. That, a week or two later, they're full in on their business, and they've been successful 5 years later. So,
Wow. Now, my last scenario, Danny, and then we're going to get on and talk about some other stuff here today. One of the spin on some of the stuff that I've heard potential entrepreneurs saying, um, let's see here. So Danny, I realized the only thing I'm really good at is making chocolate chip cookies. That's all I know how to do, but they're really good. Everybody buys them, everybody wants them. And I had this, suit and tie guy hit me up on Instagram, and he said, for $10,000, he can product package, market me, and I can be amazing. And all I know how to do, Danny, is sell cookies. So, how do I know which person I should get on the team to help me navigate this whole thing?
yeah, that's a great question. The first thing is to look at what other people are doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what other people do you know who are out here making cookies or making baked goods or making products, right? That's the first thing. Like, check out your competition, because sometimes we think we're the only ones that's in this scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there might be someone else who left their job to make cookies too. And this is the process and the steps that they've used. So spy on your competitors, and sometimes you can even reach out and ask them, say, hey, I'm just starting out, I see you've been making cookies for 3, 4, 5 years. Do you have any advice for someone like me? Because I'm looking at packaging and products. Would you be willing to kind of give me some advice? And you'd be surprised the amount of people that would give you advice. So those would be the first two things that I would recommend. And the other thing too is to check people out. Like,
Mm.
ask them to send you testimonials, ask them to send you different packages. There's lots of freelance websites out there right now where you can get so many things done at a fraction of the cost. You just have to go on these websites and tell them what you want. And sometimes people will even bid on them. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll give you examples of all their work, maybe 10 different people, and then you can select the one that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many different ways. Sometimes you just have to be careful about just jumping at one person. You have to really make sure that they're legit, that they have clients and testimonials, and they can back it up with all the numbers and the product and all that kind of stuff.
Good point. Good point. Now, just a sidebar, because I say process and I heard you say process. Where are you at, Danny?
I'm in Toronto, Canada. You already know.
I picked up on it, but I just want the audience to,
I
like,
like that.
he sounds a little different. Where is he?
I love it.
So the Grind and Gratitude podcast, you do that weekly, or how often is that?
Every week. So every Monday you get a new episode that comes out. And really, I started it last year during the pandemic because I was going live on Instagram and Facebook every day for an hour or more. I've done about 165 of them since the
Whoa.
pandemic started for an hour or more.
Oh, wow.
And I was teaching all this different content and checking in. And then I was just like, you know what? I need to give people something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was all about, sometimes you hear people just talk about grind, grind, grind and hustle. And other times you hear people just like namaste and gratitude. And I'm like, no, you need both.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be successful in your life or your business, you need the grind and the gratitude. You need to be grateful for the journey. You need to be thankful for where you are, thankful for the process and what you're learning. So I started the Grind and Gratitude show. And it's really just practical tips and interviews that are really going to help people to up level their life and their business. And, it's going pretty good. We've reached listeners in about 50 countries so far. And yeah, we're really excited.
When I grow up, I'm gonna be like Danny.
You're already doing your thing. Don't you try me. I've been following your stuff, your podcast and all, the motivational speaking.
Just little old me,
book.
just little old me, just little old me, just trying to make my little space in the corner of the world. But let's talk about Danny, because today is all about Danny. And like I was saying earlier, I check out everybody's stuff as I'm getting ready for the show. And I was reading about your humble beginnings, right? And kudos to that, because, not all of us make it from where we start. But continuing on along the vein of entrepreneurship, one of the things that I find is sometimes we feel like there's more in life for us. But we are in environments, or we come from environments where nobody is giving us the blueprint for what more is, right? So just taking the example of entrepreneurship. So let's say you come from a family of, your father's a 9-to-5er, your grandfather's a 9-to-5er, your great grandfather's a 9-to-5er, but something in your gut is like, I want something different. It's hard to kind of figure out how to take the steps to do different when not only you don't have the blueprint, but the people around you might be saying, well, just stay over here with us. This is what we've always done. This is what we know. How does somebody kind of bust out and, grab that brass ring and say, I want something different?
Yeah, I mean, I've had to do that. I grew up in low-income housing, surrounded by drugs and crime. So I had to break out of that mold. But the thing is, here's the thing. Most of us don't know what we want. And so you're living other people's expectations of your life. And so the very first thing that a lot of people don't do that they should do is get clear about what it is that you really want. What is it that you really want? And what do you really want in all areas of your life that are important? What do you want in terms of your career or business or your finances, your health, your relationship? Get clear. Because once you get clear now you know what you want. Now you start to make a plan. And here's the thing. We're in a time where you have access to so many people now. We're always thinking about, this is what I kind of want, even though we're not clear. And then we automatically shut it down. We say, oh, that's just too difficult. I've never been an entrepreneur. No one in my family. Sometimes it's not about the how, it's about the who. And so once you make up your mind that this is what you want to do, who do you need to connect with that can show you how to do it? Is it a mentor? Is it somebody who has a course or a program? Is it somebody in your neighborhood? Is it somebody that your parents know or somebody that you know, right? And you start focusing on the who and the how, because maybe they have a process to show you. And I often say you have to be careful who you tell your goals and dreams to for that same reason. Sometimes the people around you can't see you grow and can't see you expand and can't see you go after your goals and dreams because they're stuck. And you're reminding them that they're not brave enough to take the action that you're taking. And so sometimes they mean to hate on you, but most of the time they don't. It's easier for them to try to talk you out of everything that you want than it is for them to actually stand up and say, okay, I got to leave this job. I have to lose weight. I have to be better in my relationship. I have to work on my parenting skills. So it's just easier for them to make that disconnect to you and say, look, it's not going to work. Right. And so that's what I suggest people do. Get clear about what it is that you really want. Make a plan. Figure out your who are the people that can help you, and connect with like-minded individuals that are going in the same direction you're going.
Good tips, good tips. Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, the way things are set up now with the internet access, the world is really opened up to us. So there's really no excuse for you not to find that who, because sometimes it's just an email. Hey, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I kind of feel like this is what I want to do. And the fact that Lana and Danny are talking today, hey, I want to talk to some guys. And hey, Danny, you want to talk to me for 30 minutes? The world is just out there with a click on your computer. So, even though you don't have all the working parts figured out, just start networking, just start moving and asking, hey, help me out here.
Action beats the perfect plan anytime.
That's right.
I
That's
wasn't
right.
ready to start a podcast. I wasn't ready to write a book. I wasn't quite ready to quit my corporate job and launch a business. I wasn't ready for all of those things, but you have to do it scared and just get started.
Hmm.
Right.
And I think, and you hear people say that all the time. I'm not really ready. When I get all this together, and you're never really gonna be
No,
ready. Just
no,
go. Just
no,
go.
no, no. Absolutely not.
Just go. Just go. Now, Danny, I want to talk about this one of the books that you have, because there's a couple I read, but this one that you have The Keys Now Drive.
Yeah.
That one. Well, I want to talk about a particular part of the book.
Okay.
Because when I was reading the blurb on it, you give 5 habits that you will learn in the book. And the first 4 habits, I noticed that they were more internal, but the last one was be of service to others. And that's more of an external thing. Why is it important for people to learn to be of service to others? Why is that a habit that we need to develop?
Well, 2 things. First is not necessarily external, because when you help other people, you're actually helping yourself and you're learning and you're growing. And so a lot of people think it's about giving to other people when, how many times have you volunteered or went to give a talk, or, you gave somebody some change on the street, and it just made you felt so good based on the way that they react. So that's a misconception sometimes, that helping other people, you really learn about yourself and you grow and you expand. And so for me, that whole habit is important, because that's what we're here for. Every person on earth, we're here to help one another. We're here to be of service to other people. When you're in a relationship, you're of service to that person. When you're a parent, you're of service to that person. When you're a son or a daughter, you're of service to your parents, right? In your job, service. Everything you do is of service to other people, but most of us don't realize that. And so when we're feeling stuck in our lives, or we're feeling lost, or we're feeling sad or depressed or anxious, aside from really going into yourself and getting clear, and maybe if you need some outside help around that, you would get that. But there's something about giving and helping other people that opens us back up into who we are, our place in the world, what we're doing here. And it lets us know that we're here to help other people and to be of service and to uplift other people. And so that's why that's so important, because a lot of people just think, yeah, community service or helping people it's just something that's there. And most people don't think that it's a part of building your legacy. Like every day that you turn on your computer and you post something on Instagram, that's your legacy. You're giving information, you're motivating people. Every day that you have a conversation, every day you go out into the community and you do something, that's you being of service and building your legacy. Most people don't think about legacy until you get to a certain point in your life. Well, you're doing it. You're building your legacy every single day. And a lot of that is through how you treat other people, how you interact with other people, and how you serve other people.
You mentioned something. It's always puzzled me why people just kind of miss the mark on it. And it's this concept of legacy. And I remember being a little girl, and my mother used to always tell me, what you do now is going to be with you all the way till you get older. So it was kind of at a young age, it was imprinted on me, this concept of this long journey. What do you feel? And I don't know if you have any input on it, but what do you feel we could start at a younger age? People saying like, look, we need to start putting some plans in place to build a legacy.
Yeah, I think with kids, we just start teaching them to be of service to other people. Okay. There's people who are less fortunate than you. They don't have the things that you have. Some people don't have clothes. They don't have running water. Some people just live in it's very difficult for them. And so we have so much, we can go and we can help other people.
Were you always a man of service from a young age, or did it happen later?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, one of the things that people know me as is Coach Stone. And oftentimes I come in and I say, Coach Stone is in the building, because I'm here. And And I never thought that I belonged in all these rooms. I'm a university dropout. I got arrested a couple of times when I was young, before the age of 18, and I just never knew that I deserved to be any place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, come full circle, working in the corporate world as a manager of training and coaching people, I left that, and then I became a coach and a speaker. But here's what's interesting about all that, and this is why it's important to cultivate those young aspirations when you're young. My very first paid job, where I got a paycheck from the city that I was living in, 14 years old. I was a basketball coach, coaching 4 and 5 years olds and mentoring them at 14 years old. That was my very first paid job.
Wow.
Here I am 30 years later, coaching and teaching and helping people to transform their lives. So coaching has always been in me. Service has always been in me. And this is the thing that we don't understand about ourselves. When you're a kid, you have these big dreams, and then life beats you up, school and all these things, mistakes, failures. You get away from those dreams, but what we don't understand is those things are lingering in the back of our mind. And if I were to ask somebody right now who's feeling stuck in their career, what did you want to be when you were 5 or 10? And they tell me, chances are they still want to do something along those lines. Awesome. And so we have that in us. And most of the jobs that you have when you're 9 or 10 are of service anyway. So that's how interesting that is, right?
Awesome. Coaching at 14 and coaching now. Awesome. Isn't that precious? Little 4 and 5-year-olds out there with a 14, a kid leading the kids. Oh, that's right. Precious. That's precious. So let me continue on with the wonderful work, the wonderful journey of service that you have embarked on. One of the things that you are involved in is near and dear to my heart in Los Angeles as well, is a zero gun violence movement. Explain that to me and what you guys do over there.
So Zero Gun Violence Movement is a group that was started 8 years ago here in Toronto, Canada. And it's really a group that is designated to ending gun violence and creating safe communities and really uplifting youth and people in low income housing communities. And so I joined about 7 years ago, and we do everything. We go out into communities. We lead peace walks. We do mentorship. We work with various levels of government to get funding for various programs. Awesome. We've been up to basically to what we call the White House here in Canada, Parliament Hill, to meet with politicians about, gun violence, safe communities, scholarships, all of these types of things. Mm-hmm. And so we do a lot of work there. And then I'm also doing a lot of work with incarcerated men. So since the pandemic, I've been speaking virtually in prisons here in Toronto, Canada. And actually a couple of those prisons have both of my books. Mm-hmm. And the men, I had to send them, they have at least 10 copies because the guys just kept reading them. And so the very first time I went to speak at a prison, someone's like, "You're one of the guys from the book," because I have another book written with I co-wrote with 9 other men. And so they were just like, couldn't believe that an author came to speak to them. Awesome. And so that's what Zero Gun Violence is about. It's about like giving hope back to communities that are hopeless, encouraging young people to be leaders of today. Mm-hmm. You're not a leader of tomorrow. You're a leader of right now. I don't care if you're 10, 11, or 12. And so we have to stop telling young people to put off their leadership, because they're leaders right now. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's so important to me, all the amazing work that we're doing here in Toronto.
Wow. I had, when you think of Canada, you just don't think that it's plagued with some of the problems that we have here in the United States, but clearly.
Definitely, we do.
Clearly, you guys do. And, just curious, you said you visit prisons, and one of the dynamics that we have here in the United States is it tends to be a lot of Black and brown faces predominantly in prison. Is it the same thing in Canada?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of Black and brown and Aboriginal or First Nations people. Absolutely. Same thing. Well, we're going to fix it. We're going to keep on fighting. We're going to find a way to fix it. That's right. A lot of the conversation, and I've been involved in this in Los Angeles for quite some time. A lot of the concern from
the inner city, the low income communities where you see a lot of this gun violence and a lot of guns, period, is the question of, well, we know we're not going to gun shows and buying them. We're not, how is this influx coming into our communities? And I don't know about Canada, but there used to be, and I'm sidebar here, I'm digressing,
Sure.
but it used to be the urban legend that
Yeah.
railroads, tracks, trains would just stop and conveniently have boxes and boxes of weapons to conveniently be dropped into our communities or whatever. But, it's always the concern, like how they're getting so much of them here, because you have to stop it at the source. Same thing with drugs. If you stop it at the source, then we won't have the problem. But I'm digressing.
No,
digressing.
okay.
Let's get back.
Yeah.
Let's get back on Danny, because I've taken up my time. Danny, huh?
We have a few more minutes. Yeah.
But then I want to know, because like I said, you are doing so much and I can't pack it all in, but I do want to know, before I kind of wrap all of this up, because I know this isn't it. What you're working on, what you got on the pipeline, what you're doing, because I know more is there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to continue to grow the podcast and, try to expand it to, 200 countries. So that's one of the things I'm really working on. The other thing is I'm kind of working on another book, maybe drop next year. And right now I have a coaching program where I teach people how to be transformational speakers, whether you're a business owner and you really need to learn to be a better speaker and a better communicator and be a more confident speaker. And so I have a program called Champion You, where we find that inner champion and teach you how to be a champion speaker and really reach, get your message out to millions. So, so those are the kinds of things that I'm kind of working on right now, and I'm really excited about.
Okay, I see I'm leaning like I'm there in the room with you, but I see two of the.
Yeah. Okay. You have the Keys Now Dry. That's the one you were talking about.
Okay.
And this one's called New Me. This is what I wrote with 9 other Black men. So you can see. Yeah.
Y'all are doing it.
Doing what we can. Doing what we can.
Leaving a legacy. Awesome and amazing. Well, Danny, I'm going to ask you my random question, and then I want you to tell how we connect with you. Now, the coaching is that I'm assuming that's like you can do that worldwide, right? It's
a virtual online coaching program.
Okay.
So people can just sign up for that.
Okay, cool. And since you coached the little ones when you were 14, your coaching programs, are they targeted for adults or can kids?
Yeah. My coaching programs are for adults. I do other stuff outside of this with younger people, but yeah, all of my coaching programs are for adults.
Adults. Oh, I can hear the Canada.
Adults.
I love it. I'm a military brat. So growing up,
I saw that you lived all over the place, Japan and Europe.
Yes. Oh, you were checking me out. So I'm used to the ear, my sound. I can pick up the different tones. But let me ask you this, because I can, like a woman, I could just run my mouth all day. So let me go ahead and cut this off before it's like 4 hours later and we're still talking. All right. Let's see what we got. Mr. Stone here. Oh man, we kind of already answered this one. Well, maybe. Okay. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to obviously be a basketball player. That was my thing. I wanted to go to the NBA, be a ball player. That's the thing that I loved. I mean, I was a pretty good basketball player. I played in university here in Canada, and a couple of Division II schools in the States wanted me at that time too. So that was my dream, to go to the NBA.
You were supposed to be on the Raptors, right? Toronto Raptors?
Yeah, I was supposed to be, I was. So yeah, that was it when I was young. And then it just kind of just morphed into like, I just want to help people.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Well, we're happy. We're happy that life took you the direction that it did, because we get to see you bless the world this way. So, I want to thank you for that, because the basketball, you would have, not as much time to give back to the world. You'd have just been just practicing.
Yeah.
Practicing.
That's true.
I appreciate everything that you're doing, and much success to you. And I can't wait till it's in 200 countries. So I will be on board for that. So Danny, tell everybody how they connect with you, how they get involved with you, how they get in touch with you, that person who wants to start their business and doesn't know how and they want to reach out.
Simple. At I am Danny Stone on any platform. And my website is iamdannystone.com. And if you're into listening to podcasts, just look up Grind and Gratitude anywhere you listen to podcasts, and mine will come up.
Grind and Gratitude. Now, one more time, how often do we catch episodes of Grind and Gratitude?
Every single Monday, you get a brand new episode.
All righty. All righty. Awesome. 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 Well, Danny, I thank you for giving me the space and time, because you gave it to me. You can't get it back. So it's a gift. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I wish you nothing but continued success. And I also, as I was nosing around on your social media and stuff, I should say happy anniversary to you and the missus.
Thank you. Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. And Lana, thank you. I really appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate your platform, and for you taking the time to kind of have me on your show as well. And I'm loving what you're doing. So keep doing it, because we need more voices like yours out there. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I just think men folk are awesome, and they need more people out there to show how awesome they are. So I'm just doing my little small part to show the wonderful things you're doing. So that, just thank you. And like I said, thank you for everything. Yeah. So let me wrap this up, get you on your way, because you got more moves to make. That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reed, and I will see everybody next time.